So, people, welcome back to MMA with Avinash. Today we have one of the most exciting coaches, emerging coaches in the world of mixed martial arts today, the coach of Quillen Salkid and Corey Haddon. Romel, welcome to the MMA with Avinash YouTube channel. Thank you so much for taking out the time to speak to us. We're honored to have you on the channel.
Thanks very much for having me. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's just start by getting to know you firstly, because for many people in India and back in the uh, different locations in the world, many people don't know a lot about you. So let's just start by speaking a little bit about you and the kind of journey you have had. I know about you because I've dig deep and I know where how do you started. But let's just start by giving a brief introduction about the journey that you have had so far.
Sure. Well, I started off, I was born in England. I grew up there. I
Hmm.
started training martial arts when I was 9 years old. I started off with European style kickboxing, which is basically, yeah, kickboxing, no elbows, no knees, and strikes all above the waist.
Hmm.
So I started off in that. And then I was also doing Japanese jiu-jitsu with the same instructor for a while. And then
Okay.
as I got older, about 17 or 18, I watched UFC with my father, and then I thought, you know what, I really want to do this. It wasn't even a sport back then. It wasn't even called mixed martial arts. It was just cage fighting or Vale Tudo. But I saw, yeah, I saw BJ Penn fight, and I thought I really want to do that. So I found a local Brazilian jiu-jitsu club, which was Carlton Gracie London at the time, and then I just started doing jiu-jitsu there, and then that's where it all started. And then just moved to Australia after
Hmm.
about 5 years of living. Sorry, after about 5 years of starting jiu-jitsu and training and competing in amateurs tournaments, I moved to
Hmm.
Australia, and then I met. Brian Ebersol, and then that's when
Yeah.
things just got even better with training. I just learnt from a master of of the game, a mastermind of the game.
Hmm.
Mm. So yeah, that was
That's
pretty
that's
much
great.
my martial arts journey of how it started, and then the trajectory of where it went to. It mainly really picked up once I started training with Brian. I
Hmm.
was always committed to training and competing, but it's difficult when you don't have a MMA coach. Like I was, back then it was such an early sport. It was like my friends training with me. Like we had a
Hmm.
jiu-jitsu coach, but we never actually had an MMA coach. So we were just kind of guessing this is what we should be doing. We should be training like this. Or we would meet people that came from Brazil or elsewhere, and they trained at shoot box, and they'd come in and we'd be like, "Well, what do you guys do at shoot box?" And then they tell us how they train, and we try and mimic the stuff they would do.
Hmm.
But it's not until I met Brian where this guy had so much experience that, all right, this is how you're meant to train MMA. And then we focused very heavily on wrestling, and then yeah, that was the game changer.
And then, how did you think about starting your own MMA gym? How was that happening?
Well, I really wanted to do this as a career, like do martial arts, and whatever I do, I want to be the best at. So, when I played
Yeah.
basketball, I want to be in the NBA. If I'm driving a car, I want to be an F1 driver. I want to be the best at whatever I do. So when I started doing MMA, I was like, I want to be in the UFC. I want to be in the UFC. My coach was in the UFC.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I never made it, but I have my two boys that have, so it skipped a generation, but I'm happy regardless. But yeah, I started the gym because I wanted to be involved with the UFC. I really wanted to be at the pinnacle of the sport because I love the sport so deeply. So I really wanted to just do this as a career, and it's what I actually really love to do.
That's great. And I see that enthusiasm when you speak about the sport, when you speak about Corey and Quill. Uh, I mean, I've seen a lot of videos wherein you have interacted with multiple people, and then the kind of knowledge you have, and the way you communicate about the sport and about these two lads that you have right now, we can feel that the excitement, the passion you have for this sport. So it's good to have someone like you in the corner and to have someone like mentoring yourself. So it's great for the fighters. All right, moving on, Romel. So we talk. I mean, I've heard a lot of interviews of yours, and I know that you have a lot of knowledge when it comes to mixed martial arts. So the first question I have is like, you hear a lot about, fighters like they come from a non-combat sport background and they try to make it to the UFC and make it to the mixed martial arts and try to get to the top. How much do you think having a proper combat sport background like wrestling, like boxing or kickboxing or Muay Thai, how much that does that affect an athlete's performance, especially when they're trying to make it to the top?
All right. Well, to be honest, I think it's all on the person itself themselves, because you
Hmm.
can have a background in boxing, but if you never learn to defensively check kicks or to
Yeah,
wrestle or do jiu-jitsu properly, then your boxing will go to waste. So it's about finding the right coach and the right people to help you nurture the other skills that you may lack. But being a blank slate, if you don't have anything, I mean, that's fine too. Quillen, when he started, for instance, he started with me completely fresh, did no martial arts, not even a karate class, and he
yeah, right.
started when he was 18 with me. But we just built every foundation. Like everyone thinks, oh, I'm more of a striker, I'm more of a grappler, I'm more of this.
Mhm.
But the truth is, in MMA, you can't be more of anything. You have to be
Right.
well rounded, because you can't rely on one path to
One
victory.
style.
You have one path, then if that path closes, you're left with nothing. So, in terms of not having like a full background of, like, high school wrestling or any of that, that's not important. What's important is when you put the time in, you're putting the time in on correct things. So, you got to, it's basically, you just got to build all the foundations. And I mean foundations as in, you don't want all the flashy stuff, you just want the basics, but be very good at the basics of everything. And if you can downpack all the basics of every martial art, then you can get ready to compete.
That's right. I mean, we were really excited to see. I mean, we all have seen Quillen fight for Eternal MMA, and we've seen he's a well-rounded fighter. But it would have been really exciting to see if this fight that happened with Anshul Jubli, it would have gone the distance like 3 rounds, and we would have seen a lot of their wrestling, their boxing, and everything. But unfortunately, I mean, fortunately enough, it ended very quickly. Like in 19 seconds, he got the KO victory. What was your takeaway from that fight? That if you'd like to talk about it, how did you? What do you think about that fight that happened so early in the first round?
Well, yeah, there wasn't much to decipher because it went so quick. But
Yeah.
what I can say is that Quillen's tool set is very complete, and I know Anshul's is too. So with um, with our thoughts coming into this fight, I thought the
Hmm.
same thing. I thought it would be either 2 to 3 rounds, but I was sure Quillen was going to win. But I assumed it would be within 2 to 3 rounds. I didn't think it would be in the first, and
Yeah.
I thought, if anything, Anshul's best chance was on the feet. So once Quillard hit him, regardless, a lot of people will keep saying it was an early stoppage, but and he was wrestling up. But the reason he got to wrestle up is because Quillard turned his back to go
Yeah.
celebrate. If he had not turned his back to go celebrate, he was ready to crossface, take them out, and just elbow him to the finish. So either way, it was done. But I think the landing as well, that affected what the referee saw and everyone. You can
Yeah.
see it was
Right.
pretty much done. But like I said, Anshul, we have a lot of respect for. He's getting a lot of hate on the internet now, which cowards rejoice at the hero's downfall.
Right.
Yeah, because like I said, Mike, who is my friend at Soma, he trains Anshul. So, and we've seen Anshul's other fights. He's a dog. He can go.
Right.
It was just unfortunate. Like, people keep giving him shit on the internet, but at the same time, people don't realize how good Quillen is yet. Once Quill's made his title run, people are going to be like, "Oh, that's not a bad loss." It's just unfortunate, like, he came across Quillen this early on in both their careers, because
Yeah.
I really believe what Quill's. I really know what Quillen and is very capable of. But at the same time, like I said, Anshul, he's no joke. Everyone keeps talking shit, but the thing is, to get to the UFC, you need to be special. You need to do something, and people keep making up all these things like, oh, he was just there, because they're trying to build the market. But he won the road to the UFC tournament, so if people were talking all this madness, well, why don't you go there to the Road to UFC tournament, see if you can win it, and see if you
Exactly.
big leagues. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, we know Anshul's very capable on the feet. So actually, we had planned to wrestle this fight and grapple quite a lot. So, but obviously, we work everything all the time. But if there was going to be a weakness that, or a strength that Quillen could play to compared to Anshul's, we had assumed it would be the wrestling. We obviously know Quill's very capable everywhere, but to make
Hmm.
the fight easy, which is what the plan is every time, is to go to where their weakness possibly could be, and we thought it would be in the
Right.
rest. But yeah, fortunately, Quillen does have power as well, and if you watch his other fights against Blake Donnelly, he's landed that same right hand. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I remember. Yeah. I mean, so if I talk about Anshul, he started his MMA journey from a proper grappling gym, the gym where he started off early in his career. That gym is known in India for like pure precision grappling game. So we were also really excited. He was making this comeback after such a long time, but unfortunately for us, he got caught with that great punch and got landed. And like you said, that people will keep talking that it was an early stoppage, but the way Jim Purdue's jumped onto him when he fell down and covered his face, uh, it was very easy for the referee to judge that the fighter is not in the position to protect, and he might get injured a lot if the ground and pound continued from Quillen in that fight. So yeah, that happened. Let's see how it goes for Anshul. We are rooting for him. We're trying to we are passing messages to him to make an early comeback as well. Okay, so moving on, Romel. So I mean, Quillen got the victory. He got the performance bonus. And I was watching one of your interviews. You were talking about the gym that you have, the current setup. Are you planning to make any upgrades to the gym now that Quillen has got the performance bonus and he has won the fight?
Well, yeah, actually, we had planned to move the gym because both Quillen and Cody making it to the UFC has
Yeah.
brought a few numbers through the door. So I am actually planning to move the gym, especially now with that kind of performance. And I know Cody's going to put on some performances too, which is going to just make the gym even more busier again. So yeah, we are looking. That is my current goal at the moment. But previously, my focus had been just purely on the fight camp, and when it's
Hmm.
fight time, I don't let anything distract me from that. It's all my blinkers are on, and we're only focusing on the camp. Nothing else, business, anything else is I don't care about. It's the main thing is to get the victories every time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in Corey, I mean, I've seen his fights and I've seen him fight as well. He's quite a well-rounded person as well. We are only talking about Quillen in these videos that we are talking about in India particularly. We are only talking about Quillen, but those who have seen fight Corey as well, we know that he's going to go to very top eventually in his career because the kind of wrestling he has, the kind of ground game he has, and on top of that, the kind of striking he has, we are pretty sure that we'll be seeing Cody will make it to the top soon enough, sooner than later. Yeah. So as a coach, Romel, how does so we know that Cody and Quillen both have had one losses in their career. They also have had losses. So if we talk about the loss aspect of things, when you lose a fight, as a coach, what do you communicate to the fighters, and how do you bring them out of that mindset when they are losing a fight and they need to make a strong comeback?
Well, losses are always difficult to deal with, but uh, we got to, that's why, and as the amateur career happens, we always take every fight that we can get because as an amateur, you want to see everything. You want to face every type of fighter that you can go against. So I always think of the amateur career like an apprenticeship. You got to do your apprenticeship, and then you become the professional. Once you're the professional, you really don't want to be taking those losses, but the losses that they have had, for instance, Quillen's first loss,
Hmm.
like there's no excuses for anything, but it was during COVID time, and during COVID time we weren't able to train as we usually would, but that was the same for his opponent, except Quillen had actually rolled his ankle the week before the fight uh,
Okay.
when he went on a run. So he wasn't able to move how he would normally move in a fight. But, that's all done and dusted now. He did make a few mistakes in that fight too, which he's aware of. So no excuses. A loss is a loss. But the main thing is from the loss you have to learn. So we learned from
Right.
that loss, like he needs to be a bit more patient. He was, there was times where he was just trying to kill this guy. Where it's like, no, no, be patient. There's 3 rounds. You can take your time. He could have picked better shots. He could have defended the takedown better. He could have done way more things way better, and he knows it. So the main thing is to take that away and learn from it. And it was the same with Cody. His loss to Urseg, he had another guy in the corner at the time helping out, and that guy had got into his head that don't wrestle with this guy, don't wrestle.
Yeah,
So
he did
every
talk
time,
about it.
yeah, then every time they kind of engaged, he was allergic to him. Where it's like, no, you can hang with everyone in the world on their best day, whenever. Both boys can. So the thing is, yeah, you just fight your fight, and yeah, you'll be fine. So I think what they did learn from that was, yeah, they both learned from their losses, which is the main thing. Even from the wins, you gotta learn. You can't just, so like this same fight with Anshul that Quill just had. There's things there that we've taken away as well. Like, well, I mean, it's only 19 seconds, but the camp was worthwhile. There was things that you pick up during the camp. There's nothing that he could have done even better. But during camp, you learn more things. You pick up new details. So every camp is to try and upgrade, and not just the camp, but just training. You always got to be training. The one thing that both those boys do, they're always consistent. They're never not in the gym. Even after their fight, they're back in the gym. And it's not, you never forget what got you to the big dance. You got to keep doing what you do.
That's right. It's very important to keep the head at the right spot, because we see a lot of fighters and a lot of athletes. They start off very, they do a lot of hard work in the initial days, but as they progress in their careers and they start getting all these attentions, I mean, I don't know what happens, but distractions start coming up. They start losing their routine and everything that they have been doing so far. So yeah, I know, I get it what you're trying to say, and we hope that both these fighters, I mean, I have a lot of respect for every single athlete that is out there, because I consider that combat sport, or especially MMA, it is a dangerous sport, and longevity is very important, because the prime is very short period of time. Like, you get to your prime, and for like 2-3 years you stay in your prime, and you try
Yeah.
to do everything that you're capable of. So how do you see the longevity aspect of it, and what would you like to suggest to the fighters that are up and coming to maintain that longevity, and how important it is for the fighters?
Very simple. No hard sparring. I keep telling everyone in the gym, when you
Hmm.
spar, you're sparring to get better. You want to see things. You want to have your eyes wide open, see every attack, and see things happening. But if you're too tense and because you guys are just trying to knock each other out, no one's actually improving their technique. You guys are just fighting. And the thing is,
Yeah.
you guys are fighting in the gym for nothing. There's no crowds, there's no one. It's just between you and your training partner, where there's no glory. Like, winning in the gym is not the same as winning under the bright light. So I always tell the guys, in the gym, we play, we look after each other. Training is
Hmm.
supposed to be, like I always say, playful, but playfully serious. So you got to train, but you cannot be taking big hits after big hits. And yeah, that is the key to the longevity, in my opinion. So and every day doesn't have to be a championship day. So what I
Yeah.
mean by that is, you don't need to go 100% every day. Every session is balls to the wall. No, there's some days where you're going to be tired from yesterday's training session, but you got to be consistent. So you got to turn up, you got to train, you got to do the drills, and you got to keep upgrading the skills. 'Cause that's the main thing, is upgrade the skills, and then on the day of the fight, that's when you want to be peaking. So you still got to put the work in, obviously, but not every day you need to go crazy. And then if you can keep your body consistent and keep your mind learning, over a period of time, you're going to have a lot more knowledge than the next person. And your body's aware of what it needs to do, rather than you go hard every day and then, you're just wearing yourself out, but you're not actually getting better. You're just getting tired every day. But the,
Yeah.
the whole purpose is to get better, not tired.
And also, you might get hurt and get injured while
Mm,
sparring, and then
yeah.
that might affect your performance eventually in the fight. And we have seen that in UFC and in multiple organizations, that once they've lost the fight, they come up and say that, yeah, I injured myself in the training camp, and things like that happened. So I
Mm.
get it what you're trying to say. And lastly, Romel, I have two very lighthearted questions, but before that, what would you suggest, or what would you talk to? I mean, what would you say to the up and coming fighters who are still aspiring to get to the UFC, and especially from a country like India where MMA is very new, and the research and the kind of facilities that are available in India, we are still in the very incubation period. We have not grown to that level. There are a couple MMA promotions which are trying to do and to upgrade the sport of MMA. They are trying to support the fighters. But what would you try to like to say to the fighters who are trying to make it to the UFC or to the big promotions?
Anyone up and coming, I just say be consistent, and wherever you are or whatever you do, it you can make it. Anyone can. That's my message for anyone out there, and that's why I'm so proud of what the boys have done, because where we're from in Perth, Australia, it's not really known. It's pretty quiet, and I've had many people over years tell me, oh, you can't do it from here. You need to go to America. You need to go to a big gym. You need this, you need that. But I knew in my heart it's not that. I've seen the level. I've traveled the world. I've trained with many people. The thing is, it's consistency and dedication. And it doesn't matter where you are. Yes, it's important to have good coaches, but you can always find those better coaches later on, but you need to get started. And it doesn't matter where you start, you just got to keep dedicated and consistent. And that's my message is it's all doable. Everything that you believe in life that you want to have, you can make it happen. You have to just go for it. There's nothing else to it. But yeah, you just got to risk it for the biscuit. If you don't take those chances and if you don't believe in yourself, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're going to be correct. So if you think you can't do it from here, then you won't do it from here. But it doesn't matter if you're in India and you think I can make it from here. Well, you're going to make it from there. It's possible. And then obviously you obviously want to look for the right coaches, but at the start of the career, for now, just do what you can do and just keep working away. Yeah, just keep dedicated. And the main thing I can say is be consistent. You got to be in the gym every day, 6 to 7 days a week. When I started training Quillen, we were doing 7 days a week. On the Sundays, gym was closed. I would have Quill come to my house, and I'd hold pads for him in my shed, and we would just train here. We would just make things happen. Because yeah, you have to. It's mat time, mat time, mat time. So that's my advice for anyone up and coming. Believe in yourself, back yourself, and just go for it.
Yeah, and we totally get it because I've seen the journey you have had and the kind of gym you started off with. And even now, I mean, you don't as far as I know, you don't have a very fancy setup to start the training and to help the fighters. You started off very basic, and even now you
Mm.
are going very basic with the kind of stuff and setup you have. But I'm sure, Romel, you will have your fair share of, you know prosperity now going forward, that now two of your boys have already made it to UFC. So one very light-hearted questions, because before we end the interview, I mean, when are you going to upgrade that Corolla of yours?
Uh, I'm not sure yet. I actually like it. I actually like being grounded. I do want something faster and nicer eventually. But if I'm gonna buy a car, I'll probably buy a car for my wife first, because she's backed me
uh,
on this journey. I gave everything into what I'm doing now, but I was only able to do that because my missus told me go for it. And she backed me financially. She had my back and was just like, "You're right, you go for it. You do what you think. If you think you're gonna do well there, go for it." So, yeah, I'm thankful to her, and I will buy her something nice. But as for me, I even want Quill to keep the same car that he's got too. But I think he's going to
yeah.
change his car. But I would love to have all this money and just be driving a piece of shit, because it's like it's grounding.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. I mean, and
So
since I've been following you on Instagram and your social media, I know that the kind of bond you share with the people around you, with Jasmine, the manager, with your fighters, and the kind of person you are in general, you deserve a lot of respect and appreciation, Romel. And I'm sure that you will, going forward, you will get it. You will be, I'm sure that you will be known as one of the best coaches when it comes to MMA. and we wish you good
Uh,
luck. I
thank
just want to, yeah.
I really appreciate that. Yeah. Also, yeah. You mentioned Jasmine. Yeah, Jasmine is she's a godsend. She does pretty much everything for me and the fighters. So she runs the whole fight team. She manages Quill and Cody, but she does more than that. She helps me tremendously with the gym, organizing the gym, and
Hmm.
it just makes life easier for me. I know during fight week when we have to go, I know that Jazz has organized someone to look after the gym, someone to run the classes. She knows all my fighters. She knows everyone in the gym, and she can organize everything that needs to be organized. So I can just solely focus on the task at hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I appreciate
So
the kind words. Thank you very much.
yeah, I
And
just
I
wanted to
really
know,
do.
Romel. Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry, cut out. Go ahead.
Yeah, just wanted to know you. Just wanted you to know that despite everything, we all love you. We all respect you because being such a great coach and being such a mentor for any athlete in the world, be that Quill, Kuri, or any up and coming fighters from your gym. I know how difficult it might get sometimes, but yeah, you put in all your energy and everything that you have. It's very important. It's a very respectable thing to do in life. So thank you so much for everything, Rumel. Thank you so much for coming on this channel. Just any last words if
Thank
you would like to say anything.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show. And to all the MMA fans, I appreciate talking with you because I know you're a big MMA fan. And, if you love MMA, then we're going to get along. So, yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, to all the supporters, thank you very much as well. And, yeah, just to all the fans that are giving Anshaw shit, shut the fuck up because that man deserves respect. He's made it from India, the first one in. So yeah, give him his flowers and respect him. Yeah, it's no easy feat, guys. I'm telling you. Everyone thinks it's easy. Everyone thinks this and that, but he's under a lot of pressure too. Don't forget. So I hope he gets the respect he deserves back home, and people will start to see that he didn't lose to just anybody. It's going to come out of how quality that opponent was that he lost to. But yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, anyone else out there that's trying to make it big, like I said, you go back yourself. You can do it. Let's go.
Thank you so much for all the words, and you have a great time, Romel. Keep coaching, keep training, and I just hope to keep in touch going forward as well. Thank you so much for joining the show.
For sure. Thank you, mate. Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, have a great time. Bye.